question of separating a feature from a benefit. Punchline is you have some benefits in those lists now, so let me show you how to get rid of them and not do that. Look up here for a second. I have a client, the Corning Glass Lab Glass Group. And Corning Glass makes a little squattier thing than this, a little thicker, called a beaker. And when you pour out of a glass beaker, because of the nature of glass, you know what's going to happen. Runs down the side. You cannot help that. Anybody's ever looked at glass under a microscope knows that it looks like a mountain range. It's very, very rough surface, microscopically. So you can't do it. Even when you pour fast and come back, it still does that. So there's no trick to it. Now here's the next problem. You then take that beaker and lay it on a lab, and you all know what's happening under that beaker, don't you? You're getting that famous ring. And depending on what's in that beaker, you can ruin miles of lab tops. Now, here comes the problem. A lab technician comes along a few minutes later, picks up this beaker. Let's say it has sulfuric acid in it or whatever. And not only do you get the ring on the lab top, but about 3 to 5 seconds later, that finger starts to get hot. So they typically do this. That's why all lab technicians talk funny now, but they get dermatitis and they have a problem with it, not to mention the laptop. So good old Corning said, gee, wouldn't it be nice if we could have a dripless beaker? Now, what's the dripless beaker routine? Anybody in this room have my hobby of cooking? Anybody cook? Several of you? Okay. At home, George, Marilyn, you have some condiment bottles that have a plastic insert in them. Pretty tough stuff usually. The reason for that is pour control, because when you pour out of a plastic beaker, you get that cut. You all see that? Will not wick around the corner and dribble down the side. So you get a nice pour. The problem is that plastic is not as good a vessel to contain a lot of the aggressive chemistry that you would lose in the lab, so you can't use these too much. So DuPont, another client, said to Corning, why don't we do this? Why don't we take your lab glass beaker and take a plastic called Teflon, sandblast the top 1/4-inch lip of the beaker, and impregnate it with Teflon. Now you get the glass, and you also get the no drip pour. You got that so far? So what happens typically is this. People will say, feature, dripless. And they even have a great argument for it. They say, you said feature benefit was cause and effect. So here's the benefits. Because it's dripless, you get no ruined countertops, you get no technician dermatitis. Sometimes that stuff is expensive. It can be reagents that cost an arm and a leg, so less lost product, improved employee morale. You can get a list of benefits. And that's their argument. Now here comes the real problem. Corning made a brochure and the product called the dripless beaker. In fact, the damn brochure was an 8.5 by 11 brochure, 4 pages, and across the thing it said dripless. And they put it out. Now obviously this is going to be a value-added upcharge product, right? You know, sandblast and put Teflon on for nothing. So it's a 40% upcharge product. They couldn't sell them. They filled the goddamn warehouses with them, but they couldn't sell them to people to use them. The distributors were going nuts. So Corning hired a market research team right here out of Northbrook, Illinois, called the A.C. Nielsen Company, and said, go find out why we're not selling this wonderful beaker. So let me come over to Mark here. Mark, we're going to make you the chief technician of the largest cancer research hospital in the world, okay? The more important thing is you buy beakers by the tons. So we sit there and say, Mark, why don't you buy our new dripless beaker? Number one response, come on, you can't make a glass beaker dripless. So I've tried every trick in the book, including the stir rod trick. You cannot make a glass beaker dripless. The impact of Corning was the potential customer didn't believe them. It was a claim, not a fact in their mind. They went around the country and substantiated it. You can't make a dripless beaker out of glass. That was the feeling. Now, let's see why. Dripless really, you said, is a benefit. That's a general benefit, or what we're going to call a gross benefit. These are more specific benefits. We can even get to a thing called a specific economic benefit, which we will. But a benefit falls in the category of a claim. It doesn't have any proof connected to it. So now we have a problem. How do we get back to proof? I want to show you a trick. The trick says this. Anytime you think you have a feature, think you have one, just ask this question. What causes it? If there's an answer to what causes it, then you don't have a feature, you have an effect. Think about it. For example, Mark, this will be easy for you. What causes this beaker to be dripless?
The Teflon coating?
Yeah, exactly, Teflon-coated lip. Now let's go to that. What causes the Teflon-coated lip? Nothing causes it. That's what they decided to make it out of. Go back to the definition of feature. A built-in or inherent characteristic. Well, this is a built-in characteristic. It is a what it is answer. You can't get further back than what caused it, because they decided just to make it out of that. So now we have a relatively simple system. We built this damn thing with a Teflon-coated lip. That's a non-wet surface, which gives us dripless, and therefore no room countertop, no technician dermatitis. They still may not buy that that's worth 40%, but at least now they have a right to believe it because you've gone back to it. Now, let me give you a little bit of the language process behind this. In 1919, there was a guy by the name of Thomas Segru. Segru was, because he's no longer alive, Segru was a theologian and philosopher, and he was writing a piece about what he thought was Americans. He was really writing about Western mindsets. Here's what he said. Americans have a peculiarity. It is that what they do not understand, they tend not to believe. How does that feel to you? Think about it for yourself. What we do not understand, we tend not to believe. And you don't have to be from Missouri to do that. I mean, I'm from Chicago, and there's a bloody commercial that runs around here that goes like this. I think it's tied, and it says, new, improved, works better. And something goes off in my mind that says, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Mainly because I'm designed as an American to be cynical, questioning, and what I don't understand, because how can that soap really be? Work better and whatever. Now, later they might tell me that they put a third more of a bleaching agent in it, and that's a feature, and therefore it'll work on the grease better and clean my clothes better, and therefore it'll work better. But until they get back to the cause. Now, what I need for you to do is get back to cause on some of your issues. For example, you have things on there like disposable. Well, what causes it to be disposable? Well, there's the answer to that. What causes it to be disposable is it's cheap. What causes it to be cheap? Yeah, it's plastic. What causes it to be plastic? That's what they decided to make it. So you could say a series of features. You say plastic, molded, injection molded, limited supply of ink, cheap materials in the tip and whatever. Equal, cheap, equal, throw the goddamn thing away. That's a benefit to me. I don't have to buy refills and all the rest of it. I don't have it today, but I usually have a nice little pen my daughter bought me that's made out of gold. And what's the feature on that one? 18 karat gold. I get a different benefit from that. It's not disposable, I can tell you that. My benefit from that is a feeling of well-being, a feeling of prestige. It makes me feel nice to take it out and sign a contract with a customer with it, that kind of thing. So you can wind up not only with specific economic benefits, but some kinds of benefits that are ego-oriented. Benefits are not all dollar-oriented, although in your business and mine, they tend to be very important. But we don't want to forget this one. But we're at a very early stage right now, so what I want you to do is go backwards, ask this question, what caused it till you can't go back any further, and get rid of the things like disposable and writes on any surface and all